This is the transition that we want to create in this lecture. It's just composed of a circle or multiple circles, and we use a simple effect with a scaling. So let's start by creating the mat itself. Of course, you need a test composition. In this case, I used the two clips 2 and 5, and I overlapped them with 2 seconds. Cool. So I will start by creating a simple shape layer, and it's going to be a circle. Come to your circle tool, you click, it's the ellipse tool in fact, and you just draw a circle. Make sure that you are not selecting any layer. You can press shift to have it as a circle, and then maybe you can make it as big as you want. It really doesn't matter for now. To center the circle in the middle of the composition or its own shape layer, it's very easy. You come to ellipse and you go to transform ellipse 1, and you just type 0, 0 on the position. This will reposition the circle to be in the center of its own layer, and of course the layer is in the middle of the composition. I will immediately pre-compose and call it mat circles, and I will open the new composition. Now let's set the composition to 2 seconds. The first thing we do is 2 seconds, press N, bring the work area, and simply right click and trim comp to work area. Here you are. Okay. To do the animation here, I will use a simple effect. This is a transition effect, and it is the radial wipe. I'm sure you're already familiar with it, but I will show you how to create nice transitions with this effect. If you click and drop it, that's cool. You have the effect open in the effect controls, and you have transition completion from 0% to 100%. It wipes out the circle, and of course from 100 to 0, then it will bring in the circle. Of course, you can use the wipe to be clockwise or counterclockwise, the way you would like. Okay, it really doesn't matter now. I'll keep it to clockwise. Now this is wiping on the center of the composition, which is 960 by 540, which is also the center of the shape layer itself. We are cool here, and we can start animating. For example, I take the transition completion to 100 and keyframe it. Go after 1 second, 100. And put it back at 0%. Let's make sure we have a 100% just over here. Good. So we have a very simple animation that's taking 1 second. This is cool, but I want more here. I want the shape layer to grow in scale. You can animate the scale of the shape layer. That's okay. If you press S, you can animate it. But it's much better to animate from within the content ellipse 1, the ellipse path 1, you have the size. I do prefer to animate this size in case I want to play with the stroke. Fine, so let's keyframe the size and put it at 0. And then after 1 second, so I go to 1 second just over here, I will increase the size to cover the whole composition, just like this. Okay, I press shift, it will go faster. Just like this. Okay, simple. Fine. So now I have a very simple animation, which is quite cool, by the way. If you come back to circles, you have already the mat here, and you can Luma invert this one, and the timing is okay. So you press space bar. It's doing very well. Let's put it on top. Let's go to the endpoint of this layer, and then we snap it over here. Here you are. We need to snap it a bit better. Cool. If you notice now, it's gonna uncover the bottom layer. Here you are. Very nice. Let's go back to the mat and create something even better. I have here one shape layer. How about if I create several of them? Let's duplicate this shape layer. I press Ctrl D or Command D on the Mac, like 4 times will do. But let's select all of them. Press U to see the keyframes. That's pretty interesting now. Now I'd like to shift them a bit, just 5 frames for example. Here you are, something like this, and then 5 frames from here, and 5 frames from here. Cool. Let's look at our animation now. You have the first one. Of course, they are all the same color. And this is what I'm gonna do. To create the mat, I need the last layer to be white. This is the one that's gonna appear on top of everything. But then I can take the bottom one, change the fill, for example, to black. Let's give it, for example, 20%. Cool. Take the other one, change the black to 30% or 40%, whatever you like. Let's put it at 30. And the last one, let's change the black. We put 30, so we take maybe here 40%. Here you are, you have a very nice reveal, and the last layer is white and it works with the Luma mat. Fine, so let's select all of them. Here you are. and press F9 to easy ease. Of course, you can come to the graph editor here and try to play as much as you want. I will leave it for now because it's gonna be quite cool. Notice. Okay, let it render. Here you are. Fine, let's go back to circles and see exactly what we got. Pretty nice. Notice it's very refined animation. Notice how the colors are working here at 10%, 20%, and so on until you get the full one. Now you can go back here and decide, okay, I don't want this to be 10%. You can increase, for example, to I don't know, 40%, 30% from here, and this one, let's increase it to another 20, that's 50%, and the last one, let's make it, for example, 60% of black. Okay, you could have used another color, of course, that would be fine also. Then let's select all the last keyframes and then click and drag to put them at the end at 2 seconds. Here you are. But to be precise, you can go to 2 seconds and make sure these keyframes are snapping to 2 seconds. Fine. Let's play our animation now and see if it's cool. Not bad. The timing seems good. The circles are opening nicely. The colors are adequate. Very fine. Let's go back to the main composition circles and play to see exactly what's happening. It's pretty beautiful and pretty nice. Notice by pushing the keyframes we made it, you know, more artistic, and it's taking its time to do a simple transition. Of course, guys, you can come to the matte, start applying certain effects if you like on the shape layers, or you know, adjusting the time or changing the graph, trying to make it a bit speedier, or you know, settling very nicely at the end. But I like it the way it is now, and I hope you will come to After Effects and recreate this animation to train yourself and start creating your own transition matte. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next lecture. In this lecture, guys, I want to show you the effect of a stroke on the circles. I encourage you to put a stroke and start playing with it and see exactly how you want your transition. Let's go to matte circle and select all the shape layer, put the color to white at 100% for all of them, and give it, for example, 10. Okay, so you notice here it is, you have 10. Okay, 10 might be too much, but just to show you the example, if I go back here, you notice the effect of the stroke. Now you have definite circles that you can see, and since the color is plain white, you have a full reveal for the Luma inverted of the bottom layer. You can come over and start playing with the color. Now what's interesting also, if you take the last layer, it doesn't make sense here. So how about just for the last layer you give it a black color? Here you are. Let's go back and see, where is it? It's over here. Now with the black color, you notice there is zero reveal of the bottom layer, and you have a different kind of transition, a bit enigmatic, or the way you would like. Of course, you can come and play and add some effects here. In the next lectures, I will show you how to add effects in a very simple way using the adjustment layers. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you in the next lecture. In this lecture, guys, we are going to create this transition. We're still going to use the radial wipe, and we are going to change its properties. Let's start by creating our matte. Of course, I created a new composition for testing. Call it rectangles with 2 video layers here overlapped with 2 seconds. Now I will create a rectangle on top of everything. Make sure that you did not select anything, and double click to create a rectangle as big as the composition. Cool. Immediately I will pre-compose here. It became very easy for you, and I will call it rectangles matte, and I will click OK. Fine. So the effect I want to use here is gonna be the radial wipe. First, let's adjust the composition. Let's come to 2 seconds here, press N to bring the work area and to the timeline indicator, right click and trim comp to work area, and here you are, you have 2 seconds. For the first shape layer, I'm gonna change the color to white just for now, and then apply the radial wipe. Now we're gonna use a simple trick in the way radial wipe here. Remember, we had the wipe here. It could be clockwise, counterclockwise, or both. Let's use both. That's one. If you scrub through now, you notice that it's wiping clockwise and anti-clockwise. But also you have the wipe center. it is now in the middle of the layer. How about if we put it on the rightmost here in the middle? So it will be just moving it to 1920 because of the size of the composition, and now it's wiping somewhere, you know, it comes from 0% and wipes till the end. Okay, that's cool, but not really very cool, you know, it looks awkward. We can change the start angle to 90 degrees. That's what's happening. Now if you scrub through, you will notice that it's gonna go from 50%, that's where it starts, and it's gonna take both thighs and put them in. So let's start creating our animation. We keyframe at 100%. We want to make a reveal from the middle to the right side. And then after 1 second, let's go to 1 second, here it is, we put it back to 50%. 50% is enough, we don't waste our time. So here you are, it comes from inside and it wipes. So actually you already have a nice mat. If you want to use it, come to rectangle, let's position it over here. We go to the in point of this layer and snap this one just over here. Okay, and if you play now, very nice, you apply the Luma inverted for an in transition and you have something pretty beautiful. Of course you can come back to rectangle mat and open the keyframes and easy ease them, and you can go to the graph you would like, make them a bit nicer, something like this if you want to, or play with it the way you would like. Here it is, and it slams very nicely. Let's make it even more interesting by adding more shape layers. If I take this shape layer and duplicate it using Ctrl D or Command D on the Mac, let's say 4 times, and then I open all the keyframes, you start shifting them by 5 frames. 5 frames will do. Here you are. I'm not very precise, but you can be very precise if you like. Let's see the animation now. The first one will come and second one, they are all the same colors. Let's change the color. We take the first one, and of course I want to change the black to 60%. Feel free to adjust it the way you would like, and depending on the Luma you want to use, it will also be very good. I will take the other one and make it 40%, and this one I will make it 20%. Of course you could have gone the other way around, you know, that will be 20 and this one will be 60%. If I play now, I have a very nice animation. Notice how it's going at the end here. It's pretty cool. They're coming one after the other. That's one way to do it. Okay, let's see the effect, and we play over here. Very nice. You notice it's like uncovering very nicely, and of course if you play with the colors you have a different effect here. But now another way to do it is to take these keyframes, of course, and take them to the end. Let's snap them at 2 seconds. Here you are, we are sure they are at 2 seconds. Let's go to 2 seconds, and here you are, it's well snapped, and they're coming one after the other. That's one way to do it. Or you can take these keyframes, the last 3 for example, start bringing them also to the end at 2 seconds. Here you are, it will give you a different effect here. If you play now, they're gonna close all at the same time. Well, it depends on what you like to do. I will undo this. I prefer the way we have done it before, something like this, coming up very nicely. If you go to rectangle now, here is your transition, and it's quite cool. Now in the next lecture we are going to take the same mat, the same transition that we have used, and add some other effect to it, and you will notice it's gonna become a bit more I would say original. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next lecture.